a lot of people in the greater gaming community look down on MOBAs and people who play MOBAs, and
It's a bad word.
It totally is, and I hate that because these are my favorite types of games to play right now. They're my favorite games to play with my friends. I play them every week, every day with my friends. I play MOBAs, so I love it, and there's this just stigma around it. Talk about this.
Yeah, so Leah and I worked on a letter series for IGN where we talked about this. So you can go to IGN.com and read a little bit more about this. But I don't know, playing MOBAs recently, like people I feel like really look down on me every time I mention it. Like if you mention that you play Dota, people go like, "Oh, you're one of those."
You're one of those.
In the same way that I don't know, when people started playing WoW, I used to have the same reaction when people said like, "I got to go home and raid tonight." I'm like, "Really? Really? You got to go home and raid?" And you still play WoW. And Draenor's coming out, and you're going to play WoW again.
Yep.
And I feel like that stigma has mostly gone away as MOBAs or MMOs. God, my terminology is just like a melting pot up here. Because they've become so popular, and because WoW is this huge thing with, I don't know, millions and millions of players, it's sort of just an accepted thing. And MOBAs, while they have a comparable player base, or even larger in the case of League, people still kind of look down on those people as like, oh, you play like one of those weirdo games for weirdos.
One of those weird free-to-play games.
Yeah, and I feel like it's like unfair, but I also totally relate to it.
Yeah, I feel like people, especially even within our industry, I was talking to someone and they thought that League was built by a Chinese company. And I was like, no, it's
Definitely American.
It rides like down in LA, like it started here.
Yeah.
Now it has. I think MOBAs in general are a very like international.
Yeah.
Like thing at this point, because like player bases for China are just.
I mean, I think people just know that like StarCraft is huge in Korea. Like I feel like that's a thing that people just sort of associate when they think of esports. So maybe that's why they.
And now
kind of think
League is too. It's probably larger. It's played in all the PC cafes in Korea. Like it's just this massive thing. It's totally taken over. It's taking over our industry. Later on, we're going to talk about a new MOBA that was just announced. I mean,
AAA is chasing MOBA hard,
big time.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I feel like I don't know what we can do to sort of make this go away. Other than having so many games come out until people start playing them and realize how fun they can be.
And that's the trick. I think it takes that, because my girlfriend used to judge me a lot. Like if I said Dota 2, she'd be like, "Oh God, just not again."
Yeah.
And then she started playing League to like kind of understand what I was into, and that clicked. And now she's like, "Oh, like now I know what an AD carry is versus like, and I know these terms and I understand what you're doing." And it's less of a judgment thing now. And at the same time, it's like, for me, this is something that I do to connect with everybody in my life. Like everybody I know that I play games with plays MOBAs. And like Katie Casarda, who works at IGN, moved to New York months and months and months ago. And we play with her a lot. And like I have grown closer to Katie the more we play Dota. Like that is how Katie and I have become close friends, is because we play Dota.
There are friends I only stay in touch with
because of
MOBAs.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, it is a like interest. Okay, cool. We're on board. It could be Battlefield or whatever, but I feel like the innate cooperative nature of that game gives you like a weirder personal connection than any other game I can think of.
Like when you mentioned WoW rating, and for me, like WoW rating, it's tough. It can be tough to get, your group together, but let's say you get your group together and you're all working together towards, one common goal to defeat the boss usually. But it's like everyone has their own sort of duty. Like the healers need to heal, the tanks need to, tank the monster, and then the DPS or the damage dealers, they have their own jobs. In a MOBA, you're all working. I mean, and you're still all working together to bring this boss down, but, you all have your own little individual jobs.
Yeah.
In a MOBA, I feel like even though you're playing your own individual characters, you're generally working as one unit, as a team, in order to, take down the other team's base. And it's more cooperative, it's more strategic. Like a boss, you learn the mechanics and you kill the boss, and it's like, clockwork every week. A MOBA, no two games are ever going to be the same ever.
Yeah.
You might be on the same team playing with the same people, but you're never going to play the same characters like every single game or be in the same situation.
And even if you do, there's so many variables in the game to disrupt. Like I have this master plan with this exact 5-person composition. Like, so many things can happen based on who they pick, who like the roles everyone adopts. Like, it's just impossible. Like, the game is always surprising me.
I also think the stigma against it has to do with time, in terms of the time investment. Not just the match being an hour long. It's, oh, hey, you got to learn 100 heroes, which requires 100 hours.
Yep, and then you have that that timer on your Steam profile is like a scar. Like, how many hours do you have?
Mine says a lot, but I definitely idled my game open. So I think my Steam says like that I have over 6,000 hours of Dota 2 played, which I don't.
Of
like
course.
I've left my client on overnight.
Yeah,
and
at this
so
point I start measuring my time with Dota in matches.
I think that I have like 700 matches played though.
It's a lot.
So yeah, I mean, I've definitely put a good amount of time into Dota. What were you going to say?
The thing that embarrasses me the most about this stigma is that like it's kind of true. Like, I run into way more jerks in matchmaking or in Dota than people I'd rather talk to.
Yeah.
Like, especially, and, you know, if sometimes a team will just crush us and we'll be like, okay, like, hey, like, good job, and then the like racial slurs. It's like, well, like, why? Like, and
yeah,
you know, that paired with like this match might be an hour long, you can't forfeit out of it. You feel like you're wasting your time, especially if you're not with your friends and learning things from that time spent.
Yeah.
Like, I see why people are like, no.
There's also that element of like, it is so frustrating to be in that scenario and you're just screaming and everyone's angry and people are like, why are you playing this?
Yeah.
Like, you obviously are not having a good time.
I've been in that situation before where like, why did I do this? Like, at least in WoW or any MMO, like, I might get a piece of loot at the end of that 4 hours that I spent learning how to kill this boss. A lot of the times you don't, and you end up waiting like 12 weeks. Literally happened to me. Like, I wanted these shoulders for 12 weeks, went to this raid, never got them, but like finally I did. But you know, that type of time loss definitely occurs in MOBAs. I absolutely agree with you. And sometimes you don't get anything out of it. Like, at the end of a Dota game, you might get a crappy item and, like, sweet. But a lot of the times you don't. So it can be tough.
Yeah, the definition of insanity is getting up and doing the same thing over and over and over again. And that's why I think people are, like, that's why people are against it. Because it's, like, you're back to zero every single time.
Yeah.
There's no, like, there's the outside game progression. But there's no, it's like the game resets, and
it throws you into that compulsive loop of like, okay, again, and people look at that as like you have a legitimate problem. Like, you're isolating yourself away from society to do this again and again and again.
But I feel like we're going down a bad path right now because we're starting to talk about the negative things, which definitely exist.
And I think that they are absolutely
there. But I feel like MOBAs can be a great positive experience to have with your friends. You can really get closer to your friends. You can learn more about them. You can learn, you know, how to work together with them. Like, those are the good things that come out of MOBAs, and like definitely the bad things. But you have to sort of balance it with the good things that are absolutely there.
And there's the vast majority of my experience with MOBAs, especially socially, have been unanimously positive.
Do you know what my favorite thing is about playing any MOBA?
Tell us.
Is queue times.
Because you just hang out and
because I get to it's literally just hanging out and just like we can BS about whatever we want, and then the match starts and you got to talk about the match. But at that point, it's just like you're all ready to go in, and we watch dumb YouTube videos together and laugh and make jokes, and that's so uniquely positive. Of like, we're all prepping to. It's like about to get on the soccer field and go play a match. And I mean,
after the end of a Skype call, like when I tab out of Dota and I go to Skype to end the call, and I look at it, it says like 8 hours and 30 minutes. Like, that makes me feel good. Like, I just spent 8 hours with my friends. That feels really good.
Yeah. I like that. I really like that you brought that up. That's a great point. I was thinking when you were saying that how long the league queue times are. Or not queue times, but the load time when you actually get in the game is like 5 minutes.
Well, now we're playing captain's mode a lot, so it's more. It's like 10 minutes.
Oh, man. But that's a great point. So, I mean, if you see your friends playing MOBAs, don't be mean to them. Try to play with them and learn. You know, they're fun games.
Bring them to your world if they're judging you for it. Come join me. Come be my MOBA buddy. My MOBA buddy.
My
MO buddy. I mean, if you, we were talking about this, how heroes need to be called buddies from now on.
Buddies. Choose my buddy.
I love that so much.